Hello again. For my SDL this week on the role of the LLC in meeting student needs, I decided to make this sort of poster graphic, and I've titled it Meeting Student Needs, the Role of the LLC. So just like the title suggests, of course, it's all about the unique needs of students and then how those needs can be met through accommodations, modifications, and initiatives in the library. So just as an overview here, everything on the inside here of our lovely student are all needs, various needs that a student could have that the LLC can meet, and then everything on the outside, as the color coding suggests, everything teal on the outside are things that the LLC can do to help those needs of the student. So needs on the inside symbolizing the internal needs of our students, and then everything on the outside symbolizing the external tools, initiatives, accommodations, modifications that the LLC can help put in place to help meet all of those needs. So let me just zoom in a little here. I'll also attach a copy though, so that you guys can take a closer look on your own. So to go over the needs that I've identified first, and these of course may not be all encompassing. Students are unique, and I'm sure we'll encounter a lot of different diverse needs that may not be included on here, but these are some of the main ones that I've encountered so far in my career. So first we have unique learning styles. This has to do with whether there are bodily kinesthetic, more of an auditory learner, visual learner, the logical mathematical, all of those multiple intelligences. There'll also be different levels of ability in everything that you're doing. We'll have some students, of course, that are really good at one thing, some who are not as good at certain things. So just keeping in mind that there are going to be varying levels of ability in each class. A sliding scale, what goes along with that is then a sliding scale for how much and what types of support are needed. So depending, of course, upon their ability, their learning level, their level of understanding, the amount of support they're going to need from the TL and the classroom teacher will vary as well. There are going to be varied skills and skill level. So some students will have more developed skills than others. There will be diverse learning preferences. So some will prefer to learn to do stuff on their own. Some would prefer to work in groups. Some will need complete quiet. Some might need, to listen to music while they're doing research or studying or anything like that. So just being aware of the different preferences that are present in a class or in any group of students. Diverse interests, of course, everyone's going to be interested in doing something different, so that's where inquiry comes in and is super helpful at meeting that need. There'll be varying learning levels. Some students may have reached a higher level than others, and keeping that in mind is important. And then, of course, varying levels of understanding and comprehension. So when students may have more background knowledge than others that help them through a task. So they get to that higher understanding and comprehension faster. Some students may just pick it up faster than others because it's whatever you're covering in the lesson might fit really well with their interest, with their skills and abilities that they already have, with their preferences. So just being aware that understanding and comprehension levels are going to vary as well within students is super important to keep in mind, especially when we're designing lessons. So those are the main needs and differences that I've come across so far in my career, and now on to how the LLC can externally sort of step in and help to support those needs. So some different accommodations and modifications are diverse options for technology to fit preferences and abilities of students, such as computers, tablets, 3D printers, video editing, digital projectors, all of that. There are diverse working environments, of course, in an LLC to fit all learning styles of students and the requirements of the task, because that's important to keep in mind too. What is it exactly that the classroom teacher is asking them to do? So there's group work areas, independent work kiosks, silent reading areas, meeting rooms, and then I've also included in there keeping furniture and shelves as mobile as possible, having them on casters or wheels to help keeping them light, so they can be moved around and allow for flexible spacing depending on what the students or the class needs based on the task. Of course, it's very important for the LLC to have resources that fit varying learning levels, reading abilities, interests, preferences, all of that. So books for all reading abilities and interests, audio and text resources, instructional tips and tools, all of that stuff's very important, not just, having, actual books that are varied and diverse, but also the tools and the technology and the support that we can offer, varying that as well. For further modifications, voice-to-text technology for students who have a difficult time with typing and writing, if that comes up on their IEP. Audio aids. Of course, in the LLC, you'll also find support from the TL to address varying levels of help needed by the students, which fits in with that sliding scale for how much and what types of support is needed. I've also included down here at the bottom a virtual LLC for those who prefer online learning and exploration of resources. This is something that, hadn't really been developed yet when I was in high school, and it's something that I think is super important because our students are becoming more and more involved in the online world, and I think a lot of them are starting to prefer those types of meeting places and spaces to find resources and things like that. Doing that virtually versus in person is becoming a strong preference for students. So I think that's an important one to include there. And then, of course, collaborating with the TL and the classroom teacher to provide the best possible opportunities for student engagement and successful learning. So this collaboration, of course, on lessons and unit plans, but also initiatives and clubs and tutorials, all sorts of things that you could collaborate with teachers on. And speaking of initiatives, then there's also some initiatives that will support the needs of those students as well. So having things like a family literacy night to involve parents in the development of literacy skills in their kids, maybe actually draw students in to the library in that way. The Forest of Reading program, of course, to fit interests of avid readers, and also then to foster a greater love of reading in those students who don't currently read very much for pleasure. So here it's supporting the needs of both those who already really love to read and then those who don't currently read that much for their own personal enjoyment but would like to. We can also offer workshops and tutorials to support those who want to build on existing skills or developing new ones. And then a book club to bring readers together and give them a place to explore novels together. This could go hand in hand with Forest of Reading. Of course, you could use the Forest of Reading books as the books for book club, or it could be an entirely separate thing on its own if there are people who just want to do a book club and they don't want to be involved in the Forest of Reading program. So, that's about it. If you have any questions, comments, I'd be more than happy to hear them if you just want to do a reply to this post. And as always, thanks for listening, and I hope you enjoyed it. Okay, bye guys.